Right, hello, and welcome to another episode of BoP. Actually, yes, I didn't do the intro today. I didn't feel like doing the intro, and I didn't find the intro. So,
Perfect.
yeah, I know. Um, yeah, we've been away for a while, so we thought we'd do a mega review of all the games we've missed. So Sevilla, Chelsea, and a bit of preview for Sheffield tomorrow. We're happy to be joined by Nick at NS Football on Twitter, newly branded coach in Wales. So looking forward.
Analyst, not
An
coach.
analyst.
Coach
There we
soon,
go.
but yeah, analyst for now. Yeah,
Analyst in Wales now. So happy to have him
yeah,
back on, and hopefully we'll have a nice discussion about some of
yeah.
the
Happy
interesting
to.
things that have happened with Arsenal the past couple of weeks, and hopefully this future week as well. Where are you going to start, Nick? Because I think Chelsea is an interesting game to look at because of how we came back after the start, and was it really as bad as people made it out to be? Why did we put ourselves in the position we did? But there's also Sevilla, because Sevilla, I feel like it was the opposite way around. We started quite well, we kept the ball very well, and then we went into that 6-3-1 formation at the end to try and salvage the victory. So, do you see anything that was like a congruency or something that a common theme that enveloped the two games, or is it just two completely different games for you?
Yeah, I think that's hard to say because I feel like it'd be harsh to put them in the same bucket because it's completely different games in terms of because I think basically I was happy with the Sevilla performance based on the context, even though it wasn't. I would say, I mean, it was superior to Chelsea, but not like vastly superior. But it was definitely a performance which I was more happy about. I would say, some overarching themes over both games. It's some things that have been going on the entire season and maybe slightly improved against Sevilla, but we're still not really. We're still nowhere near where we can be on the ball, really. But I think in out of possession, it's still looking solid. Even Chelsea, I think it was a couple of the goals were really dumb. Let's just say that the goals we conceded. So in terms of keeping the ball and being solid at the back, it's there's nothing really to complain about. But then again, we're still really not creating enough. The dynamics are not, they're not where they should be. I think we all agree in this one. We're going to get into it, I'm guessing. So, but lots of things we can change, or Mikel rather should change about the dynamics. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's a long season. Last year we peaked in the first 10 match days. We don't want that to happen again. And obviously lots of new faces, some tweaks in the system. So still, the results have been pretty much excellent so far. Obviously, you can complain about Fulham, maybe even Spurs, but still, overall, I think we've done pretty well results-wise. And but obviously, still lots of things to improve before you start. Before we start feeling like we'll win everything this season, like we felt last season. And again, obviously, I think in general, more of an overall comment is like I think people are too Arsenal fans, at the moment, with especially with how last season went and the signings this summer and all the expectations, they've really felt like they've really had the demand and the expectation that we're going to be scoring 4 or 5 goals every game and dominating everyone. And pretty much dominating every game. They say that we want to be like City, but if you look at how actually City plays, they play much similar to what we do right now, and not as and less similar to what we did last season. That ended badly with our defense leaking many goals. And one more thing regarding that, just as an example. Probably, if you ask Liverpool fans what was the most entertaining period of their team, they'll probably tell you the season that they came fourth and reached the Champions League final. They're not. I don't think they will tell you the season that they won the title by 20 points. In terms of what season they played the most entertaining attacking football. So, obviously I went a bit away from your question. It's just a couple of things I had in my chest, and I think
Yeah, no, feel
I
free.
wanted to respond to a couple of narratives that are not narratives, but just I
The
do
general
struggle with
feeling
it.
around the club.
Yeah, and I do struggle with it as well sometimes. Like when I see performances like Everton, for example, it was a good performance, but you still want more, right? Or Palace, or Forest, or Sevilla, even good performances, but you still want more. But then we'll have to sort of calm our expectations a little bit. And over the course of the season, it's more about picking up results. And obviously, if you're seeing some glaring weakness in the team that it keeps persisting, then that's probably going to end up costing us results in the future. There are some weaknesses. I don't think there's anything that's screaming that we're nowhere near where we want to be. We're still up there, but obviously no one is going to be happy until we start winning every game by 5 goals, which is never going to happen. So
no, and the other thing is, and there's a couple of things that is quite clearly something we've talked about a lot on the channel, is the dynamics. I think is a major thing, especially in midfield. That's a major thing we've talked about here, and I know me, George, Chris, and most of the people we talk to have had struggles with the midfield setup and how the balance of things has happened. And are we really going to be playing a 4-3-3? Is this more of a 4-2-4 with a dual striker or a striker partnership? Is that where we're going to? Are we going to a more rigid 4-3-3 with just an advanced 8? What's Martin Odegaard's role in this? And these are things we all need to talk about. But I'll go to Chris next. What did you make of let's say the Chelsea game to start with? Where do you think we turned it around, and how did we turn it around from where we were at the break?
I think the first thing, Rice went a bit more central. I think first half he was very touchline, but I think maybe after 2 minutes in the second half, he just took control centrally, combined with Jorginho a lot more. He upped the tempo with his passes. I think on the right side, Ben White and Jorginho, the outlet pass to Saka, they were playing it very slow, allowing Cucurella to be right on him when he receives the ball. But when Rice stepped in and started playing those passes with quicker tempo, Saka then obviously grew into the game, and then Cucurella got 2 fouls committed in that second half, a yellow card, and obviously we scored our goal from that side. Well, both goals from the right, one from press, one from the Saka cross. But yeah, I think Rice and Saka were very important in us turning it around. Then obviously the subs added a bit of chaos. Added a bit more control, actually, added a bit more thrust. I think with just the first 11, with Jorginho and Odegaard on the pitch, I think they were very slow. And I think Jorginho actually first half was awful. I think he hurt us in transition a lot. He planted his feet a lot, like he was just letting people run straight past him. Gallagher had a good game because of that. Enzo, not so much. And
No.
Caicedo not so much. But
it was Gallagher.
Gallagher had a good game out of all their midfielders. And then the pen, I don't think was a pen. It was just too close for Saliba to really move his arm out of the way. Like both of them,
just that the position of his arm. It's like
both of them jumped up with their arms in the air. Like when Mudryk headers the ball, his arms are up by his head as well. But yeah, they got the pen. But after the incident, it took them a minute, like 64 seconds, to bring it back. But they say they don't bring it back after that passage of players ended. It's weird, but
is that true? I don't think that's ever been enforced, honestly. Like, I don't think that's ever been enforced. I see things pulled back like this. Well, not all the time, but I feel like I've seen it a lot of times. So if the rule is there, like you say, I don't think it's enforced, to be honest. Which is annoying. But very rarely do I see like the play being stopped just for the VAR check. Like the ball has to go out. I think that's what they were waiting for.
Yeah, but even then, like the VAR check, like why would he check VAR? It's not clear and obvious for me, anyways.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
An
I agree.
error. It's not clear and obvious. Oh, that's a foul. But yeah, that really, we didn't start well at all, actually. But
No.
that really put the nail in our
Yeah, it
coffin.
was poor. Yeah.
After that, we couldn't grow into that first half. Like we were
Where do
very
you guys think
flat.
they were hurting us though? They were hurting us for me, I think, down our left. I think they were trying to they were trying to put Sterling on Zinchenko a lot and then try and hurt us through that. And then we couldn't really retain possession in the middle of the pitch. I think Jorginho wasn't great that first half, as Chris mentioned. And there were times where literally, I think there was one moment I remember in specific where Saka literally was like pushing Jorginho into the block to try and
because he just let Gallagher basically walk past him.
Yeah.
With the ball, like he just kept doing that, and Chelsea's, like you saw, Chelsea's final action was poor, because if we got them opportunities, we probably killed them off in the first half. But like they had Palmer and Sterling running out of defense maybe 5-6 times in that first half, and they just couldn't create anything. So apart from the pen, then that freak goal in the second half, which we probably won't concede again this season. And then that Jackson 1-on-1, they didn't create anything themselves. Obviously, Raya created that Palmer chance, but luckily for himself, he cleaned it up himself. But yeah, apart from the Jackson 1-on-1, what really good chance did Chelsea have? Not many. So
they had that Palmer one that like creeped past the post. That was
from a mistake.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like apart from us creating them chances, they didn't really create anything. And then Zinchenko versus Sterling was a mismatch all game really. So when Tomiyasu came on, we were pretty fine. And then for him, it was good that he came on like that. Everyone was happy with him. Everyone wanted him to play against Sevilla. The performance is carried on. So I think it's good for Tomiyasu, the way the game panned out. He's probably going to start again tomorrow.
Yep.
I don't think anyone's going to call for Zinchenko to start. Yeah, and then Jesus' injury is not good, but yeah, he himself didn't have a good game versus Chelsea either.
No, he was not good again. Chelsea.
There
is a couple of people that I do want to single out for Chelsea. It does a good performances. I think Havertz came off the bench and
he was very good.
He was very good against Chelsea. I think Saka second half.
I think he was decent, but because the other two were so bad, because they were so bad, everyone was saying,
But to be fair, it's not like Havertz did anything spectacular, but his presence changed the game. Like despite not doing anything spectacular, just his strengths, which are limited, but they are there, and when you are able to utilize them, it can change games. It happened against Chelsea. It happened against City. So hopefully we can see him. Havertz is a whole different other subject, but hopefully we can see more of that and less him trying to play like 1920 Granit Xhaka.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think Saka's second half, I think he got pissed off, and when he gets pissed off,
he stepped up so much.
He got pissed. He got pissed off. It was perfect for me. Finally, he got pissed off from being fouled. He was getting kicked by Cucurella like 4 or 5 times, and the ref didn't do nothing in that first half. So when he basically carried Cucurella with him, he just stopped and just shouted at the ref like, "Come on now!" And then same thing versus Sevilla. Acuna is a similar type of left back. Just fouls. So then he was angry, and I think versus Sevilla he looked a bit greedy. I think there was times where his final action was off, but I'm happy that he's.
No, I think there has to be times where you do give credit where credit's due. Like genuinely, I think especially the second goal, I think his ability to peel inside centrally and lay the ball off for Saka for the time, he was good. He was decent. I don't think competent. I think competent is just. I think honestly, I think the haze is still there. The Chelsea haze is still there a lot, and I think if if we look at things objectively, I think he was very
I think
very, very
in the
decent.
role where he's so like, near being the furthest forward, he's never been bad for us. Like preseason,
Yeah.
in the season, he's never been bad when he's the furthest forward. So, well, he wasn't the furthest forward this game, but you know what I mean, like receiving ahead of Saka. He was doing very well.
He's pretty close to Eddie. Yeah.
Yeah. So when he plays like that, I never complain about him.
No.
So for me, he probably should start tomorrow. If he said Jay's just out for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
If that's true, then I think we could see Trossard.
Yeah, I think we should see Trossard, to be honest. Personally, I think with Martinelli playing and Saka playing, I think they work better with a combination forward in the middle, and that's what Trossard would give you. And yeah, I mean, I think there is a lot of things we can talk about in terms of that front five combination and composition. Because I think the back six, I think, is pretty settled now. You've got Raya,
and it's amazing.
Yeah, Raya, then Gabriel, Saliba, White, and now Tomiyasu and Rice as the back six. I think that's fairly settled now. It's the front five where the selection issues occur. So I think you looked like you wanted to get something in.
Me?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
No,
Never mind. Then the main thing is, I think with the front five is the balance to be able to access the pitch centrally as well as create chances up the pitch. I think that's the main objective. I think we need to figure out how to do, because I think we're very good with our wide progression at times. We're very good at with the ability to get the ball wide and cut back, or maybe find a chance in the channels. But what we're not very good at is accessing central zones and being able to combine in the middle and play through teams. I think that's the main thing we need to improve on this season. And I'll ask Chris first. How do you think we can access central areas better, especially higher up the pitch?
I think one thing we lack is obviously Thomas Partey. He was our best link from
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
defense to that area you're talking about. The best link, maybe in the league last season. Like the speed at which he could bring Odegaard into the game is something we don't really see right now. Despite Odegaard not being the greatest, even when he receives the ball, he's playing a bit higher, a different role. But despite all that, when he's receiving the ball, he himself is making the wrong decisions. He's taking shots from bad areas. He's playing a bit safe. Like, I think when we have the ball, I see him less than when we don't have the ball, which is weird, because in the press, you can see he's leading the press. He's dragging everyone up the field. He's always in the right positions in the press. And he wins the ball back now more this season than last season. But when we have the ball, I think he can make a bigger effort to receive the ball, drop in deep, move around a bit more, be willing to go wide to receive sometimes even drift over to the left. He doesn't do enough movement off the ball for me. But then again, Rice isn't willing to play that risky pass central like Partey. I think that's where the balance is. Partey we could see him punch that ball 5 times within 5 minutes. Like, he could just consistently fizz that ball into Odegaard centrally, into the striker. Like, he's a bigger risk taker. And I think what we're lacking compared to the teams around us right now is that risk taker in midfield, because Spurs, despite people not thinking they will stay where they are around us right now. And if you watch James Maddison, he drops deep and he punches the ball centrally into the players that are higher up in the right half space, left half space, and the striker. So, and Partey was doing the same thing for us last season. Rodri does it more so to Alvarez this season. But yeah, I think Partey. But even without Partey, because he's not going to be here tomorrow, he's not going to play for us tomorrow. So
he's not going to play against Newcastle either.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think he plays. But Arteta said he's injured, but he said that before and he's played. So I think, yeah, against Sheffield, the issue probably becomes a bit smaller just because we'll have to play with pretty much the whole defence in front of us. They will park the bus like they did versus City, like they did versus United a bit. So I think the issue is a bit different. We haven't faced. It will probably be the deepest block we faced this season. But yeah, I think Odegaard tomorrow will be his time to shine. I think he has to go into the game. He's been we're 13 games into the season in all comps, and I think he's had 2 good games. 2, like maybe 3.
Bournemouth and Eindhoven.
Yeah, Bournemouth and PSV.
Yeah. I was going to say name him, but I was on mute. But yeah, about Bournemouth and Eindhoven, it's a good show.
Yeah, so that's 13 games into the season, and he started every game apart from Brentford, and that's not good for your captain to.
So good.
So yeah.
No, but the thing is, I think the other thing is he's I don't know if it's just me. He's just too far up. He's too far up.
Yeah.
He's not being able to do what he does best.
Do you know what this reminds? It reminds me like when he first joined, where we were playing a double pivot and he was playing like right next to the striker, and he wasn't effective. Yeah. And then when we changed the dynamics around December of when Aubameyang was ousted from the team, and we went to more of a 4-3-3, more of not exactly because we still had Tierney. It was a different setup, but. When we started playing him more in some deeper spaces where he could get involved more, he started shining. And this season again, where it's much closer, both dynamics and performance-wise, it's much closer to what he was when he first came, where he struggled. He's a better player. He's the captain now, so obviously there is more expectation, and he should take some responsibility, because I think the one thing which I can pinpoint that everyone will agree with is that, at this point it's a trend that he's been too greedy lately, and this season for sure. Like, he's been taking so many shots. The game against Man City was absolutely jarring. Second half, he took a couple of wild shots. I don't mind when he's like inside the box and he has an angle to shoot with his left. I don't mind that. Even when there's a passing option, I don't mind, because he's extremely good at that. But just random, when we build an attack and he gets the ball in the right half space and there's a clear angle to play it into Saka or back out to Martinelli or something, when he shoots there, he kills the momentum. It's like Thomas Partey a couple of seasons ago, and it was coached out of his game a little bit. This cannot continue.
There was a shot against I can't remember who it was. It was a shot we had at home, and it legit reminded me of the Partey Southampton shot.
It's City. It was City.
It was City. Yeah.
We had 2 players open on the right.
Yep.
He cuts in and just smashes it.
Yeah, because because that was just before the subs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it.
It was in the 74th minute, like 30 yards out.
Yeah.
Like we had Ben White and Jesus wide open on the right, 2v1, and he just shoots. So yeah.
Nick, what are your thoughts on having Odegaard and Havertz switch? Having Odegaard being receiving on the left and then Havertz being in the second striker role on the right.
Yeah, this is like a subject that is not boring, but it's a bit of this subject which just it's never going to happen. Like, yes, it would be nice to try, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I feel like Mikel is very set on. I mean, to be fair, Odegaard has played like 99% of the minutes of his career of playing towards the right side. And for Arsenal, he's only played like 2 games on the left, which was 2 years ago now. So, it is the area where he's comfortable in. It is the area he thrives. For me personally, the solution is not to. I don't think the optimal solution is to play him on the left. I think the optimal solution would be to change his role on the left to something far closer than it was last season, just try and get him deeper. Commit to having an attacking right back, which we do now with White. But I wouldn't like his backup to be Tomiyasu or Timber, because those guys, or Partey actually, because I didn't like that at all. We didn't.
No, me neither.
We need commit. Well, first of all, ignore Odegaard. Having an attacking right back at all times would make Saka look better as well. It would
100%.
So much.
This is what I've been saying for for months now.
Yeah. So we're not. I don't think we're going to talk about transfers. I don't want to get into names or anything, but just as an idea, just commit to an attacking right back. Commit to Saka having more freedom to come inside. Odegaard, get him deeper because he's actually very good in the build-up as well. Like that's the funny thing. The games where he struggles are the games where we're playing against a very good team, and he's stuck in the pocket, and we can't access him. And every time he gets the ball, he's surrounded by three men, tries to dribble to the right, towards the middle, and he loses it. That's not his game. So.
No.
And the games where he's looked the best and more fluid. Like I think the first game, because I was very anti Odegaard in the beginning, right? I remember the first game where I said he's special and we have to make better use of him, and I warmed up to him, was the game against Leicester in 2-0 with Partey and Lacazette 2 years ago, where he had a sensational game. It was like watching Santi Cazorla and Ozil. It took me back to Wenger times. He was incredible. And that game,
at home,
at home, for Partey header from a corner and Lacazette penalty.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was at that game, and he was sensational. What was evident that game was the freedom he had to go backwards and combine and go wide and middle. Just playing him like a second striker that's not his game.
No.
I would argue it makes him play to his weaknesses, which is crazy to do that, especially when you're talking about one of your better players, and your captain as well, because that's the thing with Odegaard, you can't really drop him, so it just creates a bad vibe all around if you have your captain playing wrong, the bad role that is playing to his weaknesses, and he looks bad, but you can't drop him because he's a captain. It creates a vicious cycle. So I think just get him deeper. Also, I mean, Mikel also has to have the balls to take him off at times when he's not playing well, to take him out of the team for a game. Like tomorrow would be a good opportunity. Let Fabio or Havertz or ESR do their thing. Like he needs to be managed better, because he presses like a madman. One thing we cannot fault him for is his effort and his work rate. He's extremely good. He has extremely impressive work rate. Like I think Spurs must have been his worst game so far this season. I thought that his work off the ball was sensational, right? So however bad he plays on the ball, he's always excellent out of possession and commits so much energy. So I think it will help if he gets rested every once in a while. Like starting 2 times a week, I think is optimal for him, especially when you have so many players behind him. It's not like Saka or Ben White or Rice either, really. So, and then again, just use the left side to attack more, because it's making our left wingers look bad as well. It's making our left backs look bad. It's just the team is all wrong at the moment in terms of the areas and the roles that people are taking up. At the same time, we're still picking up results. So, let's, because what I'm saying so far, it sounds very negative all that. We're still playing pretty well and picking up results.
I mean, this is literally going between saying like 85 to 95% of what we're talking about here. Like, we're not talking about saying, Man City 5-0 a couple of years ago. We're talking about going from a very, very good team to an elite team. I think that's where we're moving to. And something, and we do have a question I'm going to ask, and I'll answer it, and then I'll ask you too as well. I think for this, it's more the space. It's not the personnel, it's the space. The space that Odegaard is playing, as Nick's mentioned. There were times in Sevilla, especially, where he would think about drifting deeper and then realize he needs to stay high and just go back to being high. Like there was a lot of times when he would literally try to join the build and then realize he was not meant to be there. And it's not because of Jorginho, it's not because of Rice, it's because he is not in a position that Jorginho is in right now. He's not where, controlling the build, and he's not controlling the second phase responsibilities that he has in the past. He's not had that ability. He's more higher up, trying to do more aggressive actions that he's not suited to. He's not really, that through ball demon. He's not that final action demon. I know he got 15 goals last year, but he's never been that creative, dynamic force. He's more of someone that can arrive and produce chances late. He's not someone that will carry the ball from halfway, beat a couple of people, and then find a through ball into someone else. He's more someone that will, he can beat a couple of people, but he's someone that can combine, and then if he sees a chance, then he can take it, not create it himself. He can find the through ball, but only if it's on, and he's only someone that's not really going to produce the space. He's going to find someone that's in space that they've created themselves. I don't think he's someone that will manipulate a block to really produce that half space cross or produce that sort of cut back. He's more of the guy in the middle, is that zone 14 kind of guy that will really manipulate a block from the center of the pitch. So it's his abilities in the second and third phase are different than you would say a Bruno or Vieira or like someone of that ilk, where their whole mission is I'm going to try and force chances to be created. So yeah, I think that's a different way of looking at it. I think that the main thing is the spaces that he's occupying right now don't suit him, and I think Nick mentioned earlier, we're kind of playing to his weaknesses right now, and that's the main thing. Instead of playing to what he's good at. He's good at being able to control tempo. He's good at being able to get the ball through the lines. He's not someone that you can find in the high pocket and then expect them to like force a shot or a De Bruyne cross or a Fernandes cross. So yeah, I mean, what did you guys think? Do you have anything to add, or is that how you feel?
I think Arteta is a big reason why he's playing poorly, not Rice or Jorginho. Like Rice or Jorginho are being asked to be involved in build up. Rice a bit less so now. Even he has been moved up a bit, but Jorginho drifts to the right and build up. If Rice drops into the left, there's no space for Odegaard to drop in. So he has to be able to play in front of them. But them two also have to be able to find him. But it's just not really in their game. Then they're two safe players. Arteta is playing two safe players that won't really risk that pass into Odegaard to turn and drive with the ball. And even then, Odegaard isn't the quickest to drive with the ball anyways. He's more second phase controller. The best we've seen him is arriving late into the box. But the way we play now, he's probably in the box already. So it's just a very different role for him. But also Arteta has made it seem like there's nothing he can do to not play the next game. Like as Nick said, the options we've got Havertz that can play there, Vieira, Emil Smith Rowe. But we know next week Odegaard is starting. Like, how can you know that with the quality that's in that same position? Like, we complain about all the lack of options at right back or right wing or left back, whatever it may be. Right centre mid and left centre are not positions that people are complaining about the options. But we know.
Well, people still want another left centre mid. That's the thing.
No, right centre mid. But
no. People legit because we've not replaced Xhaka, so we must have another left centre mid replacement.
We have options in the midfield, but we know for sure Odegaard is starting next. If he drops a 0 out of 10, he's going to play next week. I think it's very negative. One for the team, but like it tells the team really that there's nothing you can do in training, nothing you can do when you come off the bench to play in the next week. Like Vieira started the season well, coming off the bench. He got into the team. I think we could see Vieira start tomorrow, but yeah,
I think he'll start on the left.
Yeah, but exactly. So he's probably been the closest to starting over Odegaard, but then he just started next to each other. So Arteta has to make it clear that Odegaard can be dropped, and I think we see a bit more, a better decision making. Because I think also the strikers are suffering with a different thing. Like the strikers, Jesus and Eddie are now being selfish to try force GA or force a special moment so that they can't be dropped. So like they've been selfish a lot of times the past couple of games. It went off like Jesus had a good game versus Sevilla, but before that Chelsea he was very selfish. He was playing hero ball a lot, and I think he didn't combine well with anyone. and then that obviously led to the performance. But our strikers are suffering from a very different thing. They can't cement in the spot, and Odegaard is too comfortable. So
Very comfortable.
it's on Arteta really for me to make these changes.
And the other thing is, and before I get Nick to Nick's thoughts on this, is I think it's not just the Odegaard situation. I think there's a couple of players in this team that, like Eddie, for example, like Jesus is injured and Eddie is just going to play, even though whenever we've seen whichever 9 between Kai and Eddie has played, we've seen who's been more effective in the 9 position, and it just feels very not favoritism, but just feels like he's just very stubborn. He doesn't want to go past his current whatever plan he's got implemented. And whenever we've seen Kai at the 9, he has looked better, as we mentioned earlier. Whenever he's been higher up the pitch, he's done fine. It's just when he's been in zones where, like the long game, for example, when he was like in that left centre mid but very, very low, with no partner that's really picking up the ball in central areas to basically have him turn and move in space on the left side. There was just kind of a vacuum there. But I'll ask you, Nick, next. What do you make of the 9 conversation? And we had Eddie. I think we will at some point or another, we've all been pretty vocally supporting Eddie. But I think Eddie against Chelsea, and then we'll talk. And then obviously with Jesus injured now, what do we do going into Sheffield United?
Look, I think with Eddie, he's someone who, in the past, Arteta has been very unfair to, because he just hasn't given him games at all. But this season, the opposite is happening. He's getting every single game, despite not deserving it ahead of others. I like him a lot, but it's just not working out for him right now, or for the team rather, with him in it. I don't know what's wrong. I mean, I don't think we're playing exactly to his strengths. He needs balls in the box. He's not getting them. But we've never really played that way, to be honest. And we have other options who suit our style better. I'm not anti-Eddie or anything. If anything, I'm pro-Eddie. But at this time, he's got enough minutes, and he's shown that he's not the optimal option right now. Not at all. So, now with Jesus out, we have a few other options. I'd say I really want to see Havertz, because especially against a team that is going to sit back, I really want to try us to send a few more crosses into the box. I feel like as a team we have some extremely, extremely good crossers, but we never really utilize it because we never have enough we never have enough aerial threat in the box. We only really do it like at the end of games when we're chasing a ball. But I'd like to see us deliver more into the box. And in general, I think with Havertz is also, obviously it's also because he's a new signing. Because if he wasn't a new signing and an expensive one, obviously I'd be far more inclined to just let him roll on the bench if he's not performing, like I would be with Eddie right now. But I feel like what we've seen from Havertz, obviously you have to work out how you're going to use him, because as I said, he's a big investment. And also, I think again, pretty much every single minute he's played as a 9, he's been good. Like there's nothing really to complain about. Obviously hasn't scored, but Man City, Community Shield, great performance, very good. I think it was Forest. He played a little bit at the end when they scored and they were chasing a goal, and we put him up front, and we went and we were out a couple of times just by pumping the ball onto him. The other time was, I think, PSV, last 30 minutes or last 20 minutes, I can't remember. We put him up front, looked good. City, obviously, in the league, very good. Changed the game. Chelsea didn't really exactly play as a striker, but he played much closer to being a striker than to.
Do you not feel like that he did kind of play like a striker, because it was kind of more of a 44. It wasn't really a strict 4. I think it was more of a 44.
I think he benefited from having another striker next to him, because he didn't have 3 defenders jumping with him because there was another player making runs like Eddie, which was very smart on Arteta's part, putting them close to each other, even though Havertz, I think, was supposed to be on the left when he came on as an 8. But then, within a few minutes, Arteta changed that and swapped him with Smith Rowe, and he did very well after that. And yeah, I think we need to give him a chance. I feel like he's very underrated. He has some very underrated qualities as a striker. He's obviously, we've said how good he is in the air. I think in general, his link up is generally pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want him battling. Like you don't want him engaging in too many ground duels with defenders coming from behind, like you would someone like Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, he struggles at that time.
Yeah, I mean that Chelsea game especially, he was struggling.
He's extremely good at turning that. Yeah. I'm talking more so about Jesus.
No. I'm talking about Jesus. Remember the first half, especially in Chelsea, like he was struggling with Silva and with Colwell at times, and I was kind of shocked.
He struggled.
I was kind of shocked with that. But yeah, what do you make?
And one more.
Go on.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So the one thing that we can do to change that is to try it more. So if he goes up front and he misses more chances, fuck it, we tried.
Yeah.
But if he starts scoring goals, then we have a 65 million striker who's probably better than every other striker we have in terms of overall. Well, Jesus right now, I think he'd be better, but maybe Jesus peak fitness and peak form, I don't think he'd be close. I don't think he'd be better. But right now, if we put Havertz up front, he shows what he's shown in all of his cameos so far up front, and then he adds some goals, then I think we improve as a team a lot, and we have our best striker at the club. And again, as I said, if he doesn't, then it's tough luck. I don't know. It's gonna be tough to see if he doesn't work out a striker. I don't know. Just sell him to Saudi Arabia. I don't know what's gonna happen after that. But putting him, I don't know honestly. But putting the one thing I know is that if you keep persisting playing him, like I swear, man, Declan Rice when he's played as a left 8, he's been higher than Havertz as a left 8. Like what the fuck? How is that possible? Like it's completely baffling. He's been very bad, I would say, every single game he's played as a left 8. Like I can't remember a game where I thought, yeah, he looked good to me.
Like, genuinely, when it for me it was the Forest game. Do you remember? Like he was trying to combine, and like he would just kick it out into touch.
Yeah, I don't know. I had higher expectations coming into the Forest game, so I was like, I wasn't impressed. But then compared to everything we've seen up to now after the Forest game, I'd say the Forest game is probably his best performance as an 8. Maybe what was it? Brentford? He was decent at Brentford. He was decent.
Yeah, he was decent.
Okay. He played as a left 8. He was decent. But decent. Decent. Look, if you, I don't know, if you put, fucking Kevin De Bruyne in that position, he played like this, you'd say he was 0 out of 10. But standards are different because that's not his position in terms of Havertz. So I don't know, man. Look, it's not working out right now as a left 8 and as a deeper 8 even. So if you want to play him, I'm very much supportive of the idea of playing him in a freer role behind the striker, basically what he did against Chelsea, but sort of starting more towards the left because Arteta wants to play Odegaard on the right. Similar thing. So if you want to commit to that, which I think was okay when he did it in preseason, he looked decent when he played in a couple of preseason games when he played that role. And against Forest, we're talking about Forest earlier, but if you remember, he played as a number 10 that game, right? We played a diamond. It was Rice as a left 8, pretty much. So he didn't even play 8 in his best 8 performance. So I'm just gonna lose it if we see. I'm just gonna lose it if tomorrow we go in and I see Havertz. Well, not on the team sheet playing as a left 8 because it could be different. But if we, and especially against a back 5, I think there could be a decent chance we go as a diamond, like we did against Forest, right? But if I see him again, if I see him again picking up the ball next to Rice, I'm gonna lose it. Like it's a horrible waste of money. If if it keeps persisting with that.
Yeah,
And
if you
he's
wanted
going
a centre mid to
to
aid
go.
in build up, it doesn't make sense. Like if you're going to spend 65 million on someone to help in build up, Kai Havertz couldn't have been the guy he wanted to help
It's
in build
crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. It's like playing. Like I think I don't know. Like can you think of a worse player at the club except I guess the center backs? Can you think of a worse player at the club for that job? Maybe Eddie.
Yeah,
Probably.
Eddie.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
Reece, Trossard, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, everyone would be better on that role. I don't know why. And I'm not saying I'm not advocating to play them there. I'm just saying just how ill suited Havertz is to that role.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, the thing is,
I was
I
imagining
don't think
him.
we've talked much about Sevilla, and the thumbnail is Sevilla. So, the
Yeah, Sevilla was good.
Sevilla was good. I wanted to just mention the role of Tomiyasu in this situation, because we've seen in the past this whole left back to left 8 kind of rotation that we've got going on, and I wanted both of you, especially I'll start with Chris. Do you think that this mitigates the need of another 8 being bought, and how do you think that having your left back kind of participate in the front 5, not as a wide outlet, but more of more of an 8, more of a linker 8, someone that can affect player in the final third? Do you think that will affect how we move going forward, and what can we do to increase the fluidity in our attack with this rotation?
On Tomiyasu, first of all, I think he had a very good game. He just showcased his versatility a bit more. I think defensively he was strong. He was up against a very good offensive right back in Jesus Navas. Like he can, with an inch of separation, he can put a cross in the box. So I don't really blame Tomiyasu for not blocking all of his crosses or whatever. Because Jesus Navas, I don't know what he does, but he can get a ball into the box every single time he wants to. But yeah, offensively, I think it was nice. I think it was nice to see your left back actually want to do something apart from be centre mid. It was nice to see him move up the pitch a bit more, combined with Martinelli, and now allow Martinelli to make certain runs, allow Martinelli to actually be inside at times. He was willing to hold the width high and wide. That resulted in a 1-2 of him and Martinelli, and he took a shot near post. It was wide, but at least he took a shot on his right foot. I think, yeah, it was a nice dynamic to have Rice a bit deeper. At least Rice wasn't wide this game like he was at the start of Chelsea. It took away those issues, like the gaps in midfield were a lot smaller. Having your left back like that makes the distances between Rice and Jorginho smaller, which we need, because Jorginho, when we saw what happens when you leave the gaps big near him, your midfield can get opened apart very easily. I think the future of the attack, I don't know how it will progress with him as a left back. I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be given as much control as people think he'll have on that left-hand side. I need to see it again, really. Sevilla isn't the best defense. I think, again, Sevilla have conceded to the left-hand side of the team 4 out of the last 6 games. So they're a poor right-hand side anyways. So for me, I need to see it versus a team with a better right. We're going to see it against Sheffield, I assume. A 5 at the back. There will be more men in and around him. So I need to see it again, how that will progress, how they combine with more people with a bit less space, because I think Sevilla were a bit more open. They weren't as
I think
deep.
every team in the Prem is going to be a bit more cagey and pragmatic against us. It's not like
We'll get more
European
respect
spaces
from a Premier League team than a Champions League team. So I need to see how he'll operate in tighter spaces, because I think when he receives in tighter spaces, he's okay. But when he has to receive and then do something with the ball offensively, is when we see a bit of negativity from his play.
nervousness.
Yeah, so I need to see how he operates when he receives in a tight space, but then is asked to progress the ball forward. That's what I need to see from him. But yeah, that's 2 straight games. He hasn't put a foot wrong so far, and everyone wants him to start left back, and everyone will be surprised if he doesn't start left back. Like, I wouldn't bring Zinchenko back in.
Neither would I.
He doesn't deserve it. So
I think Zinchenko starts tomorrow. I mean, I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, Arteta has been. I mean, when he's brought a player into the starting lineup and he's played well, he never usually removes them the next game.
yeah,
But at the same time, I think just knowing Arteta, I think with the idea of playing against a team that's going to defend deep, I think he's going to bring in Zinchenko. But with Tomiyasu in general, I've really enjoyed him. I think especially when playing a double pivot, I think the idea of playing Zinchenko as well is stupid. Like, he doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Like, do you guys remember the first half against City where we played a clear double pivot, and then we had Zinchenko playing on the left flank, high and wide, like that.
he wasn't comfortable at all.
No.
Yeah, that's not what he does. That's like asking Xhaka to play there. It's like similar type of player, ironically. I mean, it's not what he does. He can rotate there at times. But yeah, anyways, back to Tomiyasu. He's really good. I think I don't have him as a left back long term. I actually, based on how the team is built right now, I would like to. I think sort of my ideal first choice with what in terms of all the players we'd have would probably be Timber. But obviously we don't know what's going to happen when he comes back or how he comes back, all that. So to be fair, I'd like to see Kivior at left back, but that's a different conversation. I'm not going to get into it now. But yeah, Tomiyasu has looked really good. And I forgot what I wanted to say. But yeah, in general, I think he went through it. He was I think had a poor season last season, or rather a tough season.
No, he did. He did. Yeah. He wasn't available.
Yeah, he obviously had the injury in the end, but even before then, he was fit pretty much the whole time. He wasn't fit in August, but then he came back in September, and I remember that he, like, even Europa, he wasn't that good. Even the whole team was not really impressive in Europa group stages. But for me, I started pretty much every Europa League game. Wasn't good. Man City and Bournemouth started in the Prem, really poor in both. Hooked in both, I think, at halftime. So he struggled. But obviously, in his first season, he showed how good of a player he is, especially and can be technically. Because, like, especially with so many injuries, the war in general is about the athletic side, and Tomiyasu is clearly not. He's clearly not declined physically or athletically. So I think with his technique, I don't think it was a matter to worry about. It was just about him getting the sharpness and the confidence back to play like he can, and he's been quite confident on the ball this season. I think whenever he's played. Last year in that stretch, he played at left back. I forgot to mention that earlier when I was talking about last season. He was decent. I mean, he had an incredible game against Salah where it was more of a defensive shift, but in general, he didn't really look good.
I think the best way to look at it is that PSV game. I don't know if you remember the PSV away game when he really struggled.
I think I barely watched that. Yeah, that was one of the games I don't really remember much. I think I missed the second half. I can't remember, but I don't remember that.
We were very poor that game, though.
We were very poor.
Yeah, we were.
Gakpo.
Because Vieira started on the right wing next to Odegaard. It was horrid. I remember that. Yeah. So like with Tomiyasu, you could see how big it was. A vast downgrade, Zinchenko, to him. This time it looks like he's an upgrade to Zinchenko. So that's full credit to him for how much he's improved. Not improved, but just his confidence back and his sharpness. I'd like him to see him stay there. It makes the back five, back six, as Curran said, even more solid. And yeah, games like Chelsea, I think he should start. Like, starting Zinchenko there, it put us at a disadvantage from minute one. They kept targeting him. So having Zinchenko here as long at left back is very important.
I feel lucky they didn't start Doku. Like if City started Doku against him,
wow, yeah, that would have been rough. I was thinking about earlier just how we can play in a 4-2-4 with the players we have available or something close to that. I think it's a bit different. I think I would say, but I feel like the solution would be to keep Tomiyasu at left back, drop Odegaard deeper, not exactly double pivot, but have him closer to Rice.
just say it. You know you want to say it. You know you want to say it. You know the after how many years of fighting George over 4-3-3 versus 4-2-3-1, just admit it. Just admit we're going back to the pivot.
I don't really want to go back to the pivot, but if Havertz is playing in the 4-3-3, I'm not. Yeah. Anyways, my point is that I was while you were speaking earlier, I was trying to think about it, and the best I could come up with would be to play Odegaard on the right side of the pivot. Rice has the 6, but more so on the left side where he's more comfortable as well. Tomiyasu on the left that makes a very solid back three, and you wouldn't need him to contribute that much. And the solution to solve the left side is that I would actually play Jesus or Trossard, whoever you want, as the left striker this time. Have him close to Martinelli, which they both thrive playing off each other, and then have Havertz playing as the right striker in front of Odegaard. In possession, you'd have to have Odegaard as a double pivot. On paper, it would look a bit weird, because Havertz would, maybe on paper, if you release the lineup, maybe Jesus would be the left 8, maybe, but out of possession, in possession, it would be Jesus and Havertz up front. That's something about with Jesus off the left to help and offset the lack of a clear left-sided 8. And then I think what this does, it also allows some really clean overlaps from Ben White, because when Saka goes inside, what would do is it would push Havertz towards the penalty spot, which I think it would suit him. But I think that's all a matter of Odegaard accepting this role back. Arteta wanting to play him in this role, because we were saying about Odegaard turning greedy. I think he's had a taste of 15 goals in one season, and I think he wants to keep that up. I don't think he's going to keep that up the way he's doing it right now. I think when he plays more unselfish, more goals will come. But that's just an idea I had while one of you was talking earlier. In terms of tomorrow, because I gotta go in a bit. Just one last thing for me in terms of tomorrow. I would go. Ideally, what I would like to see is I would play Tomiyasu at left back, and then I would go with Trossard as the left 8. Trossard or Vieira, most probably Trossard as the left 8 with Havertz up front. Yes, I think that would make sense.
We'd all want, to be honest.
Yeah, that would make sense against a deep team, because you would sort of have the back three of Tomiyasu, Gabriel and Saliba. You'd have Rice as the lone pivot, and then you'd have
wouldn't that mean Gabriel centre back then?
Yeah, but I don't think that matters that much. It depends what type of game it is. If the game is going to be played in Sheffield United's final third, then I don't think it
doesn't matter much. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
But the problem is if they try to make it a transition game, and they try to get at us in for example, the Forest goal that we conceded.
Yeah, I think you can adapt. What I was trying to say is that sort of our final third shape would be that back three, Rice as the 6, and then the front 6 with White, Saka, Odegaard, Havertz, Trossard, and Martinelli. I think that would make sense if Sheffield decide to camp in their own box. If they want to make it a transitional game, if they try to press us, it would pretty much be similar, but with Tomiyasu playing more of just with more of a back 4 rather than or Tomiyasu pushing up like he played against Sevilla, so Gabriel can be the left center back. I really like that, by the way. That was interesting. It gives us a nice solution. Tomiyasu going up. I don't think you should do it against everyone. Like, I don't think we should see that much tomorrow. Like, in the final third, you don't want him playing as a fucking inside forward. But in the build-up, it's an interesting solution because I think it suits him better than doing the straight up.
It also gives you an aerial threat, doesn't it? It gives you the ability just to, like we did against Man City. It gives you that ability just to hike it up to him, and like get the pressure, collapse on him, and then free up other players. But before we do go, because we're gonna have to go. Last minute predictions for Sheffield. Chris?
Let me go last, please.
No.
Nick, what's your prediction?
My prediction would be I'd say we beat them 4-0. I'm confident.
Wow.
See, that's something Chris would say. That's usually his thing. I was going 3-0, so you can go last since you're that.
I think it's the game where we play as Wenger like to say with the handbrake off, and we just start battering them. Hopefully, because I just as easily it could turn into a game where we concede in the first minute as we like to do at the Emirates. Hopefully, that doesn't happen.
I'm going 3-0, so it's up to you, Chris. Here we go.
Okay, so
Nick, you don't know, but this is basically where Chris has a meltdown every stream, trying to decide where what he's going to go with. Changes about 15 times.
Yeah. Do you guys still have a league table with?
We do. Chris keeps it up because when we don't stream.
Yeah, I'll show him next.
We'll show because he needs to calculate it.
Okay.
George was top last time we checked. I'll give you that.
Yeah, he was. I think. Yeah, I think. I'm not sure. Oh shit! So I've been feeling a 1-1, like a random 1-1. But that happened versus Chelsea. We got a random 2-2. I've got a bad feeling we lose this game, but I'm gonna say 2-0 win. I have a bad feeling we lose like 2-1. Or we get a 1-1 draw, like unexplicable.
This is your Everton away, isn't it?
Inexplicable.
For this season.
Yeah, but Chelsea got the draw in it, so it's not.
Basically, every year Chris has one game where he just thinks for no reason we're going to lose.
Every year he's right,
and every year he's kind of right. But yeah,
it's just weird. Sheffield have 1 point this whole season.
Oh fuck! That means they're gonna win tomorrow.
Yeah, they've got 1 point.
No, it doesn't. It does.
5 losses in a row.
But yeah, as Chris agonizes over the results, we are going to have to go. Basketball has to be watched.
No. I'll change to 5-0. 5-0.
5-0. 5-0. Wow. Okay.
There we go. See, this is something. So, on that note, we're going to have to call it there. Chris has basketball to watch. I want to prepare for this Palace game, and Chris has salami sandwiches to eat. So, we'll see you soon. Hopefully for a 3-0 win, but we'll see.
Let's hope for a 5.
But we'll see. Again, thank you for Nick for coming on. You can find him at NS.
Happy to be here, guys.
Happy to have you.
On a last minute thing, and but yeah, we will see you soon. Do like, comment, subscribe. Do keep supporting the channel. It's great. Find us on BoP Footy. Find me at current BoP. Find him at CKFT Bell, and find George for when he does eventually decide to come on the stream for at GeorgeV_AFC. We will see you soon, and hopefully after a Arsenal 3, Sheffield United 0 performance. Bye bye.
5.